Alright, so what you want to do when you're tanking with Devastator is your main goal is to get as many shield slams as you can out. With Devastator, your auto attacks, Revenge, and Thunderclap are all going to cause Devastator to have a chance to proc and reset the cooldown on your shield slam. So when you use Devastator plus Heavy Repercussions, that's the maximum amount of damage that you're going to be able to do with your standard rotation, and you're going to be able to get a lot of shield slams off. So when you charge in, first thing you want to do is hit shield block, and then go straight in for the shield slam, and then you'll be able to do Thunderclap and Revenge. And after Revenge, every time I do an Ignore Pain, just so I can keep that bubble going, and it's just a good habit that I try to get into. That way I'm less of a healing threat for my healers, so they can focus more on the raid, because I've noticed in Mythic, there is a ton of raid-wide damage. I've also noticed that your Revenge does do more damage than your Thunderclap, but costs rage instead of building rage. So you'll balance that while you're tanking versus how much rage you have and how much damage you want to do. So I'll go ahead and show you the rotation now. It's going to be charge, shield block, and then shield slam. Already got a proc, Thunderclap, Revenge, Ignore Pain. Now I'm just waiting for a proc. Got another proc. And that's just increasing the amount of rage that I have. And you always want to be ready for a proc after you do a Thunderclap or a Revenge, or while you're just sitting there on GCD waiting for anything, since your auto can do it. So Revenge got it there, Thunderclap just procced it. Keep your shield block up. Revenge procced it again. That was the auto. And notice that every time I shield slam, I'm getting another point on my, or another second on my shield block. Now I'm waiting, and I will post my Weakauras code in the comments. The way I have it set up is that Vengeance is over here, and then when I click it, it goes to Ignore Pain Vengeance over here. So that way I always know Ignore Pain's on this side, Revenge is on that side. Makes it really easy for me. So I'll open up all of my Weakauras for you. Got to get out of range of him real fast. Open up all the Weakauras, and I'll show you that I have my shield block here. Already showed you the Vengeances, and then this is mixed in with all my arms ones, but I have my Archimode's Hatred, Ignore Pain, Shield Wall, Ammo, and then my Netherion's Fury. Gearing for Prot is really simple. It's just go with the highest item level item that you can, and then try to focus on getting as much haste as possible, because haste is going to be more rage generated through more shield slams and more thunderclaps, which in turn means more shield blocks and more ignore pains, and then just all around more damage for you to be able to do because you're getting more abilities out. When you are gearing, you want to make sure you're focusing on item level, but try to get your set piece bonus as well. The 2-piece is the most important because it gives the extra rage for your Berserker rage, and then the 4-piece just because it gives you more Berserker rage to be able to get that additional 80 rage more often. So in this situation with shoulders, I have the 915 set piece in. 1, because it has the haste, which I like, and then 2, because it's the set piece versus these 930 Pauldrons of Vile Determination, just because I'd prefer to have the extra haste and then be able to get more Berserker rages off because of the 4-piece bonus than just to have the higher item level. For enchants, you want to go with Mark of the Heavy Hide for your neck, just because it's the only tank one unless you go with it is straight stat enchant. Strength for your back, I'm cheap and went with 150, but if you can afford it, go for the 200. And then same thing on the ring, I was cheap again and got the 150, but you want to go for haste for rings as well, 200. With legendaries, there's 4 that are better than the rest, and then the rest of them just fall in under those. The gloves are the best because it gives you more damage and more rage. More rage just means more shield blocks and more damage ignored with ignore pain. The bracers, they give you constant healing. Every time you spend 10 rage, you get 1% of your maximum health back. That's going to add up to be a lot, plus it has the 3 secondary stats that is very nice to have. Thunder God's Vigor, every time you hit an enemy with Thunderclap, it reduces the remaining cooldown on Demoralizing Shout by 3, and that's with each enemy you hit, so if you have a group that's going to take a huge chunk off your Demoralizing Shout, That's just helpful for general survivability. For Mythic Plus, I think that's one of the best that you can run just because of the amount of enemies that you're hitting with Thunderclap. You're going to have Demoralizing Shout up all the time. But my favorite is Archimode's Hatred Reborn. I like having the big cooldown I'm able to use that's going to reduce the damage I take and be able to be a mitigation. That way I can survive more big hits. So that's why I run that, and I also run Reliquary of the Damned just because it's like a poor man's Archimodes, just with the 50% of the damage taken up to 3 million. The other legendaries, they all have their uses, but they're not as good as the main four. Pride As is like the Trinket, just you don't get to decide when you use the Absorb Shield, and then it's a smaller shield. Timeless Stratagems, Quality of Life, you're able to leap more. Destiny Driver, intercepted attacks grant you and your intercepted target an Absorb Shield equal to 50% of the damage done by the attack. Not a very helpful talent. Rethu's Incessant Courage, sure you get more healing, so that's decent if you don't have any other options, but I'd run one of these four over that. Blood Mirror, not a lot of times where you're able to use Spell Reflect effectively, so the one additional charge would be helpful at some times, but not often. And then Shield Block, if you have enough haste, you shouldn't need that extra charge of Shield Block. Quality of Life, not very good for us because we already have so much movement with Agrimar's Stride. Cephalus, I don't recommend that for anybody. Walls of Fel, seems like it'd be cool because it gives you the additional rage, but the other ones are just so much better. It's definitely the higher of the lower tier, but I would still use any of these four before I would use Walls of Fel. Same thing with Soul of the Battle Lord. It's higher of the other options just because you're able to get both Vengeance and I would take Booming Voice with the other talent, but I still wouldn't use it over any of the other four. With Protection, Relics are really easy because it's always just put whichever one has the highest item level in. If you do have a situation where you have two that are the same item level, there's 3 that you can choose for defense, and then 3 that you can choose for offense that are better than the rest. For defense, you have Vicral Shield Training, getting 8% more armor. You have, Dragon Skin, increases total damage ignored by ignored pain. And then the last one is Bastion of the Aspects, where it increases damage prevented by blocking by 8%. Those are the 3 best for defense right there. For offense, you have the Rage of the Fallen, increasing damage by Revenge, your Thunder Crash, increasing damage by Thunderclap, and then those are both for AoE damage. For single target damage, the best one is Shatter the Bones for your shield block to give your Shield Slam more critical strike chance. Those are the 3 best ones for offense. I always try to look for the defensive ones just because as a tank I'm more focused on trying to survive than I am trying to do more damage. So I think it's more important to go for something like Vicral Shield Training or Dragon Skin or Bastion of the Aspects, or